anything to say. And because, teaching through making, as you've seen, I haven't done it this week, but not to reach it. All I can say that I maybe me too, I'm quite jealous. That I wish I had the opportunity to spend the week and the days with you, and next year, if it's happening again, I will come here as a student to the RWTH, and I'm so impressed, quite amazed. You arrived on me on Monday evening. It's Friday evening, and it's very impressive of what you did. So I think here it's a big challenge to teach and to get you to supervise this work, but it's also from your side maybe a lot that you've learned, and so it's an opportunity here to because next first the weekend, but then we embark in our universities, departments, schools, and maybe it's a way to question the way we teach again and learn our discipline. So, and again, it's just a good idea. The idea we had to conclude. So it's an informal discussion, and let's see where we bring it. So I don't know is who stars. Theresa, Maria, Hanna, Thomas, Gia. I will ask each one of you to bring some input. So who wants to start? You? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I wrote a business statement, and maybe I'm gonna read it because it is with new Turkish. But we with active building, and this spring I went to a experiential learning conference in Lyon, in the Pôle d'Atelier, where the whole conference was basically about how we can adapt teaching, and there was a lot of discussion also about ecological teaching methodologies and radical pedagogy. And I think it was quite impressive in that conference to see how this has been done since a long time, especially in the form of design build. And I think now in the face of this time of exploring new materials, alternative building methods, that was pretty interesting. And my conference presentation, I summed it up quite quickly now. So maybe I'm quickly gonna read it. And first of all, to say I was also really happy to be here, to have met you all, 120 new students in a few days, and to share what we are doing, which is an approach to architectural education that brings together mature exploration, hands-on learning, and regenerative design strategies, which is supported in this case a lot by the infrastructure of the site that we have here at Scott's Atelier, and our beautiful BC team and our teaching team that came together to allow these ideas to take form. So first of all, thanks for everyone. And maybe from my side, I'm a part of BC, and over the past 3.5 years, I've been hired to translate BC's collective and hybrid practice into our newly installed junior professorship called the Actor Building at RWTH Aachen University, where I also studied before. So I basically started this 10 days after graduating. Expertise in how the teaching goes in Aachen, I think. And the aim was to connect education, research, and the making. And with these 6 courses in Aachen and around 140 students per semester, we have until now, at the moment, taught more than 1,100 students in 8 semesters, where each of them was learning not only about building, but through building. And I think when discussing impact, that can also, just as BC studies, mean a lot in terms of making ideas grow. And I think all of us in BC, but also in our teaching in Aachen, we are quite motivated by the fundamental question of what does it mean to design in times of product crisis. And in my currently favorite book, Heterogeneous Construction, Danette Huo, she says, environmental crisis demands a shift in architectural practice, a move towards adaptive, material-conscious construction. architecture today must integrate the intellectual and the material, theory and practice into one continuous process of research through making. And I find it quite inspiring why in our teaching the experiential learning is not a side project, but it's basically the foundation of the design. And we ask the students to engage quite directly with the local resources, as in most of our studios, also in Vienna and in Estonia, with the clay, the crop waste, and demolition rubble, to learn how to build from what the territory offers. We are testing also materials, we design follies, reconstruct prototypes, and learn by doing. And through that, the building itself becomes a research act, a moment where design thinking and materiality meet. And yeah, this process-driven approach, I think, challenges quite a lot the old binaries of concept versus meta, where we see a construction itself as a form of expression, where material, process, and context shape also its aesthetics. And yeah, especially I think in our collaboration with the engineering laboratories in RWTH, which is quite extensive as it's one of the largest engineering schools in Germany. But it allowed us to test, for example, biofiber reinforced to earth structures, where also the merging of design and scientific research into a hybrid practice happened. I'm almost done. But ultimately, I think building is a shared collaborative process, always a network of people, places, and expertise. And through our growing network of making, we realized some small and large design projects, like for example, Paludi Pavilion last semester or the Horst Enschel Pavilion at the Horst Festival site, where always students, researchers, and craftsmen lead in one shared act of building. And I think in that sense, regenerative design means for us more than reducing harm. It means also restoring ecosystems, as we saw in the lecture this morning. It means reviving local crafts. It means creating social interactions through construction. And it's also about designing spaces for assembly and experimentation, like, for example, the Stade de Ville site we have here. I think it's quite an important new place growing as a circular hub for production and knowledge sharing. And in this very mega workshop we did here, the first time that large with DC, I think we are today part of a first act of collective building, also of a new knowledge. And I hope there are many more of these workshops to come. And I think in a time where architecture must really unlearn old habits, I believe also this integration of thinking and making of design and meta is not just an alternative, but it's the only way forward. And yeah, building regeneratively to us is simply to build with care, I think, for materials, for people, for the world we shape together. And in that sense, I think learning through making on all scales, from detail to elements to the whole, as we did in the bamboo workshop, but also from research prototype to prototype pavilion to industrial production and heavily drillings applications. It's the way how we can rhizomatically begin to restore nature while improving both our human and non-human life quality. And now, from my personal side, I'm going to continue my journey at Bauhaus Earth on Monday, where I start a new job as a research team leader for material innovation. And I'm quite curious to see there how this idea of research through making and learning from making in a collaborative approach and manner, always on a larger scale on construction sites in the framework of the highly regulated construction sector in Germany works. And I think what is always shared is this same aim of restoring our ecosystem by building. And I think, yeah, this is quite motivational to see also in this workshop how even every little small detail can be part of a collective effort like that. Yeah, that's my comment.
Thanks, Theresa. I agree with almost all of it. I have some other points to share with you. Yeah, so mostly I agree and connect to you, of course. So thanks first and foremost to the team of BC, of course, for putting this learning environment up for all of us, and thanks for all of you students, first and foremost, also, I guess, to contribute to the energy that has been generated in this 4 days. So I think we continue on Monday, I heard, or not.
It's been 3. So time to reflect. I think it's also a very important point.
I have some experience in material-based workshops and guided for the last 3 years. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning, although in a much smaller case than, of course, this one. I see my role in this not so much as the teacher, but rather as an organizer of learning environments, also for myself. Ms. Ken mentioned it at some point in the lecture or debate in the first evening, so constantly, challenging also myself. I think learning environments are also quite similar to projects in the way, or as I understand them, as assemblies basically of material, of knowledge, of people, infrastructure, tools. And for all of those things, hopefully in a nice way to make connections or maybe rather ferments together. I think learning environments should be safe spaces for all of us in it. But I think these spaces should not be closed off to reality, allow for the complexities and urgencies or throughout the day to come in at a certain point. I think it's also has to be moderated in a way to get the sit in this environment, to experiment, to slow down, and to look from the rush of the reality and the real crystal sides. I think these learning environments has to, leave space for personal or individual agencies, of course, but always understanding that we all contribute to a greater goal, so to say. So I think the collective aspect of it is, in essence, a combination of individual agencies in a certain degree. I think the process in these workshops has to be structured, is my opinion, kind of a clear structure that is transparent and also easy enough to understand. But at the same time, we all know that with your project outside the bamboo now, so you have to be also very agile along the way. I think for me, this is a very fine balance that we're not always succeeding to find exactly this points where it's this balance of structure and rigidity or freedom, you could say. And for that, to me, in my personal, let's say, ambition of teaching, the main ingredients is actually to be open, transparent, and podissimal locks. So if there's a problem, if we have to shift as a whole, as a group, we do it. Is also the mutual trust is the base for that. For that thing is really important for all of us. So it's not only teacher or the role of the organizers, like for all of us have the responsibility to be the focal dog fairs. Or think only with that we can learn together. So that's a bit, let's say, value-driven part of teaching. Very Vicky said at the beginning, I'm not a material expert as such. There's also the other materials. I have rather, let's say, broad scope of knowledge that I brought it from a lot of teaching before entering this field, let's say. I collaborate a lot on this project. Hanna Segerkrantz there with you guys from BC in the last semester. So I enjoy this very much because it challenges me and it also brings together a lot of nice people, actually. Super hectic taking this decision, I have to say, also at this moment. Very concretely, I very often do the roles of, let's say, more the logistics, infrastructure, maybe also maintenance and care. It's both material. If you realize there was a thing, is the whole but contrite you also in a social way. So that's a bit my role of 1,000 years. I had huge to costership with costership from the first. Do you still have a bit, but we slowly also. Yeah, if I can in my role in this, I hope I can contribute. I think it's also a bit how to keep the machine running in a way. So, and get a bit with them and business partner from within. And for sure, not at the center. It's try not to be at the center of things. Also, not in front of the classroom. So, from within. And I think the most successful moment is to me in a course when I feel a bit useless. So then I know things are running, the whole thing is good as well. And it's not about being lazy, it's really good. But to use this, I see that the things are partly particular something.
Hanna. Thank you also from my side for all of the energy that you contributed and your enthusiasm and curiosity. It's been really beautiful to see how you're engaging with the materials and the processes, and I hope that you learned a lot. I learned a lot, as always. And it was also thank you to BC for involving us. What I found out in being on a role at the symposium in Vienna, that there's this mega workshop happening, and then we had just to confirm that we're going to be teaching together with Maria. I was really hoping that we was able to join. I'm really grateful that you welcomed us. So that's for that. I had the teaching hands-on courses from since 2022, making in the Estonian Academy of Arts, but also with Thomas quarter semester in Wien, which would you do one year experience. But teaching for me is never really teaching. I see education very horizontally. And I see that we're all students learning from one another, thus we're all basically participants of the same course. And I try to use the term as often as possible, but of course has its deeper ties. And this interest in alternative horizontal education dates back to 2018 when together with a good co-students from the Design Academy Eindhoven, we had a chance to curate our own education for a semester. And create their own curricula based on our own interests and needs. And we moved to Italy to do that, a deliberate choice to escape the Netherlands for a moment. And basically we went through the whole process of designing the course outline, the learning goals, everything that starts before, carrying out the whole course and doing therapy sessions among one another to discuss what is going wrong, what has been right, etc., all the way to creating our own evaluation criteria and then doing sound assessments that were then judged or reflected upon together collectively. And that was a really, really crucial experience to understand how education can be shaped and that it doesn't always have to be the way how universities do it, but that there are alternative ways and methods for that. And since becoming a guest lecturer at the Estonian Academy of Arts, I tried to bring in this methods as much as possible. It's not always easy, but at least I try to encourage all the participants of the courses that they are also responsible for guiding us or the head midi people. That when there's something that is not working, we can always shift and adapt the course to meet the needs of everybody. So this horizontality that is one of the, main things behind teaching for me, like the most important thing. Another aspect that I really value in teaching is leading with the material, which is what we have been doing the whole week. What Jasper also mentioned in his lecture, that is like a reverse approach, that you start from the material, not from the idea. And I think this way is the only way to connect the hands and the mind, which is actually sort of a baseline for starting to understand how everything works. So first comes, in my opinion, understanding the material, the materiality, the feeling of it, but also the ecology and the history of it. And that only after that comes the reading and the conceptualizing, because that we're able to actually make connections. So following the lines of Thomas, as teachers, I see our role, or at least my role, rather as a facilitator of this space where we can all learn, rather than the one that shows how to do it. So I find it encouraging to, curate a learning environment where we can be the dirty work that we don't always have the space for in academia. And that we're touching and experimenting as well as failure would actually be possible. And that's then when this connection happens. And once I see this connection in somebody's eyes, for me, it's already complete. So to round back to the topic of teaching filmmaking, I think that in order to understand how things function and how structures, both physical as well as organizational structures are built, it is crucial to make. But I don't want to teach how to make, rather offer space to make, and the rest will follow. Thank you.
So actually I was just here yesterday, but I'm very happy to be here, and I was
thinking, what do we learn? What do we learn by doing this, and why are we doing it? And I really, I'm more and more convinced that that in terms of knowledge, somehow you could say everything is online. So if you really want to get the knowledge, you don't need the university, you don't need EU to just open any. You can even ask the ChatGPT and they will tell you everything. So somehow all the knowledge is online, except maybe the fact that a material weight a certain mass and or that you have earth that is heavy and hemp is like super light and that it's cold or it's warm or that the sand is soft or not, and somehow you have the let's say the relation with the matter. This is probably the only thing that we don't have easily access, and that's why the workshop, I think, is the value of it is like suddenly you realize, yes, it's heavy, it's hard to make a rounders block, or it's cold outside and it's raining. And so if you're learning all this relation with matter, which is something that is actually extremely precious, I would say for your first, because that's the only moment where we have it, and it's, I think, as a human, it's sometimes nice to be connected with the reality of the physical world, and also because then you have respect for the workers on site, and I think it's something that is crucially important in the construction, is to say, when you're building something, you have someone that will build it, and they will wake up at 6 a.m. when it's raining and will still, do your thing. So, and that when you're designing a wall on the map, it actually means someone that you build it. And I think that's what you're learning in this workshop is like, it's real work, and then you have a bit of respect for I'm sure you all had it before somehow, but now I think that's the thing we learn. And this second thing, I think, why we are all here together, it's also what is the way I feel. Maybe it's personal, but we are all in our personal life. It's sometimes troubling, fighting with feeling that the world is not going in the right direction, to put it mildly, and that you're fighting against forces that are way bigger than you. And sometimes it's good to be all together with persons that are sharing the same value, or at least that are feeling in the same moment of a difficult situation where, and that suddenly you have this energy. And I think this is extremely precious, and especially this workshop where you're so many, I would say, you have the possibility of feeling a collective energy, and how much it's so important. And I think this is, let's say, if you take it from there to say it makes sense sometimes to be with people that are as enthusiastic as you and as hopeful to bring the positive energy back home when you're alone somehow. And so yes, it's I think it's that's why we need such workshops.
So, does one of you want to say to add something? It looks like you're preferring something. No.
Just take action.
Any reaction? Big bad comment. Yes, I think, okay, if not, it's a good time to just say thank you to BSc.
There was no question to the room.
But I wanted
No, you can say some say it, but then I give the last word to you again. So this solid good. No, I take from the point of the BC, we wanted to perhaps stress that for us it's really, and it's super nice to see that it all worked together, because I don't know if I explained in the beginning, it was just like, well, we like to do a workshop of 1 week for each school, so let's just tell all the schools to come on the same week. And then a bit later we were like, okay, there'll be a lot of people, so in the beginning it was like, okay, how will we fix this on this muddy field? Really depends. So bit by bit we started to realize what we got ourselves into. So thanks a lot already for everyone who helped out in it. Definitely Heidi also who kind of matched it all together. The director is really good at infrastructure, Julia as well, but the whole team. Also Theresa, who will be having her goodbye party from our side tonight. So give her a beer this evening. You might need it, but she's moving on to Berlin, so it's nice. And then ENSA Paris-Est, who are like, we would have had a 6th university, but if we do it the next time, we will manage to let us all work together. But for us, it's really like somehow puzzle pieces all together. That's we've been lucky that at Saddlewood University, there had been the question like, do you want to come and teach? So we set up a teaching share, which was super nice. But then having collaboration between universities is not always that easy, like to bring people together. So just having the privilege that we anyway had those different positions and then bring it all together as if we were a mini university. That's a bit the goal in Peace Studies. It's how we call it, our mini university. I think that's super nice. And the fact that it worked out that then all people who hopefully had like similar interests, I think that's probably the most important. It's also within the postgraduates and building guild borders, what we like to stress, like it's not just about the technical knowledge, it's about bringing the people together in the right way. So I hope that we succeeded with that and that this evening with some beers and hopefully some Wednesdays might even devolve further. So thank you very much.
No, nothing great. It's a perfect from Fufu. Thank you so much for organizing this week.
Alright, so there will be music there, beer there.
We're fully ready. Not fully ready, so like let's say in half an hour there will be your paper. For the case it's easier, but you can.
Yeah, it's true. Despite yourself to has looked like you didn't feel every end result out, there was so little that applied. So go have a walk, they dish this up.